welcome. Thank you all for coming out on such a glorious day in Central New York to join with our governor, so many of our distinguished guests to celebrate a really incredible day here in Syracuse. I'm Rob Simpson, the president of CenterState CEO, and just couldn't be more excited about the development that's taking place here at our Inner Harbor. Before we begin, I'd just like to acknowledge some of our local elected officials and community leaders who have joined us today. First, Van Robinson, president of the Syracuse Common Council. Tom Young, former mayor and core board member. Kenneth Adams, president of Empire State Development. Kenneth, thank you for joining us. And Tom Madison, executive director of the New York State Thruway Authority. In addition to my work with CenterState CEO, I also have the great privilege of being the co-chair of the Central New York Regional Economic Development Council. And we have unequivocally made sure that this project is a true regional priority, not just for the city of Syracuse, but for all the Central New York region. We have made a number of investments to try to grow and build infrastructure here and to support and launch and catalyze this investment. What this investment is, all told, is $350 million in private capital being invested to transform our Inner Harbor, our community's waterfront, into a vibrant residential, commercial, and educational center for those of us who live and work in Central New York. This project is turning a new leaf in the history of the waterfront, cleaning up a formerly polluted site, refurbishing existing facilities, and creating new opportunities for residential and commercial use. I know I speak for everyone involved with the Central New York Regional Economic Development Council when I say that today marks a significant step forward for the city of Syracuse and for our entire Central New York region. Once again, thank you all for being here on this incredible occasion. I'd like to now introduce Jeremy Cooper, Starwood Hotel's Director of Guest Initiatives for Specialty Select Brands. Jeremy.
Thank you, Rob. And it's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm honored to be joined by Governor Cuomo at this event. We're here today to mark the next major step in the development of Syracuse's waterfront. It's the groundbreaking of our second Starwood branded hotel here in the Syracuse area. The Aloft Syracuse Inner Harbor will open for business in 2015. It's going to be joining more than 100 high-style, tech-savvy Aloft hotels in 15 countries around the world. This new world-class facility in Syracuse's Inner Harbor will reinvigorate the community and attract visitors to shop, to dine, and to explore this area. Governor Cuomo has been a valuable partner throughout the development process, along with the state, Onondaga County, and the city of Syracuse. This partnership is allowing us to create hundreds of high-quality jobs right here in Central New York. Time and again, Governor Cuomo has proven that he believes in business and supporting private sector investments like this. Today's groundbreaking of the Aloft Syracuse Inner Harbor is exactly that. But there's even more for us to announce today that we're excited about. In addition to this groundbreaking, another Starwood hotel is being built right here in the Inner Harbor. The Element Syracuse Inner Harbor Hotel is expected to open in 2018. It's going to be a part of the brand as it continues to grow around the world and as the Element brand doubles over the next couple of years. Our second hotel will have more than 120 rooms, and it's going to bring additional jobs and opportunities and vibrancy to this surrounding community. The building itself will be LEED certified and eco-friendly design, and it appeals to today's more environmentally sensitive traveler. Today marks a milestone for Starwood Hotels and Resorts, as well as our local partners, and we're excited to be here today with Governor Cuomo to recognize it. So I'd like to thank you all, and I'd like to welcome to the stage Syracuse's Mayor, Stephanie Miner.
It is a true pleasure to be here in Syracuse. As all of you know, this is what the weather is like always in Syracuse, and we're very proud of it. But it is always like this in Syracuse when we have important announcements about the Inner Harbor. Those of you who were fortunate enough to join us a couple of months ago, remember it was just like this. I am pleased to be here to thank all of our partners who really helped make this dream and this vision a reality. From the Regional Economic Development Council to, of course, Core Development, to Starwood, to the folks at the Economic Development Office and Governor Cuomo, this is truly the work of many hands, and many people should be congratulated about that. There has been much work to date done on this, and there will continue to be much work done on this. It's very rare that you get to announce the development of a whole new neighborhood, but that's what we are doing today, and we are doing that because of lots of partnerships that have produced many results. And I can tell you that all of the partners, particularly the City of Syracuse, is pleased that we are able to do that, and we will continue to make sure that we work hard and continue to work with the partnerships so that we can continue to have these kind of amazing announcements, and perhaps not always this kind of weather. We can't guarantee that. But welcome to Syracuse, welcome to sunny Syracuse, and congratulations to all the partners who made this possible. Thank you. In a spirit of cooperation, those of you who noticed I just got 6 inches shorter, because I put in the stool, because our next speaker, of course, much to my chagrin, does not need the stool. It is my pleasure to announce and bring to the podium the County Executive, Joni Mahoney.
Thank you. I'll tell you, in 8th grade, she was way more popular. I am happy to be here. Welcome, Governor Cuomo. We're always happy when you stop in Onondaga County, and we appreciate how often you're coming here and you're bringing wonderful news for us. I want to take a minute to thank Steve Aiello and his whole team. There, as the mayor just said, a lot of people had to come together to do this, but ultimately it's up to the folks here that are building this new neighborhood, and the plans that we have seen are outstanding. I appreciate the cooperation from the Starwood Group. Welcome, Jeremy. We hope to see more of you here. Tom Madison, we couldn't have done it without the Canal Corporation's partnership. I know Kenneth Adams is here, our state delegation, Jim Fowle from Kenneth's office. A lot of people have to come together to make things like this happen, and we're led by Governor Cuomo, who has done things so much more quickly than people are used to in government. He comes and makes an announcement, and the next thing you know, you have the world's biggest, whatever that is, here to dig ground. So thank you, Governor, for keeping the pressure on, keeping everybody moving. This was identified as a priority by the Regional Economic Development Council, led by Rob Simpson and now Chancellor Severud. And the Regional Economic Development Councils are bringing all of us together to set our priorities, and that's how you move quickly, because we're doing it all together. So I am happy to be here. Just want to add my congratulations and my appreciation to everybody involved and introduce to you Assemblyman Bill Magnarelli.
Thank you very much, County Executive. And, you know, we've got to stop doing this. It was just yesterday that you were kind enough to introduce me on another project that we're doing at the other end of the lake that Governor Cuomo and the state of New York have also had an awful lot to do with, down in the town of Geddes. It's always great to have the governor here in the 129th Assembly District. I love it. Good to have you back again, Governor. We've spent a lot of time in Albany. We've been doing an awful lot of work, and we're getting things done. 4 years in a row with an on-time budget. The lowest tax rate for middle-class people in our state in the last 60 years. The largest single drop in unemployment in upstate New York in its history. These are things that we all can be proud of. But the good news keeps on rolling in. This project is going to create hundreds of jobs, and it's going to create that atmosphere which the county executive taught me about 4 years ago, about creating enthusiasm about living here in upstate New York, creating an environment where business and the residents enjoy the area and want to be here and create new things. 4 years ago, the governor proposed the Economic Development Committees, councils, and they are working, and they're working here in upstate New York. Now we stand here 4 years later, and we have shovels ready to start this new project. We're standing here with Starwood. We're very happy to have you here, and happy to see that these hotels in this neighborhood, as the mayor has said, is going to be built. Thanks to the governor's vision and the hard work of everyone involved in New York, New York has become a place where businesses want to come and set down roots. whether it's in our cities or on our shorelines, and build a lasting future. I thank all the community leaders that are here, all the elected officials, our private sector partners, all for their dedication not only to this project, but to Central New York as a whole. It's my pleasure now to introduce the Governor of the great state of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. Boy, it is a beautiful day. First to my partners in this effort, Rob Simpson. Let's give him a round of applause for the great work he's been doing on the REDC. Jeremy Cooper, Starwood Hotels, welcome. Come back again and again and again and bring more hotels. Mayor Stephanie Miner, let's give her a round of applause. County Executive Joni Mahoney, who has one good idea after another and insists that they all be done by the end of the week. Joni Mahoney. Great colleague and friend of mine, Bill Magnarelli. He's a great representative. He's a great representative of the entire state. Pleasure to be with you. And Steve Aiello, we thank you for your partnership and good luck on this. Give him a round of applause. It is my pleasure to be back. It's my pleasure to be back in Syracuse, and it's my pleasure to be back on such a beautiful day with such great news. This is a metaphor for the whole story. You don't need to look further than the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and this development, and it tells you the story of the past 50 years of upstate New York. Upstate New York has had a difficult time economically for a long, long time. It's nothing new. We're in 3-4 generations. Somebody said to me in Buffalo once, you know, it's been a bad 50 years when it comes to the economy in Buffalo. I thought he was kidding. He wasn't kidding. Upstate New York has been suffering. We went through that manufacturing shift where the economy shifted. It hurt upstate New York. And there was never really an Act 2 for upstate New York. And we survived a lot of loss for a lot of years. People leaving, businesses leaving. And we were looking for the next economy. We were looking for the next phase in the economy for upstate New York. But it doesn't just happen automatically. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes work, it takes investment, and it takes partnership. We've been talking about the Inner Harbor for years and years. The vision is right. Mayor Tom Young had the vision. I remember him talking about the Inner Harbor years ago. But it had to happen. And Syracuse needed partners and friends and investors to make it happen. And frankly, the state government was absent for too long. And the state government just wasn't engaged. The state government wasn't working, frankly, well enough to come to Syracuse and say, let us find out how to do business and let's find out how to do business together. And the truth is, the state had to clean up its own act. Because we didn't just have a problem in upstate New York, we had a problem that was statewide. We felt it more profoundly in upstate New York than downstate New York, but it was a statewide issue. State government wasn't functioning. Our taxes were too high. We had an anti-business mentality. And people nowadays are smart, and they're mobile, and they will leave. You keep raising taxes. If New York is going to be the highest tax state in the nation, you know what they're going to do? They're going to go to another state. Why? Because they can. They'll pick up their computer and they'll leave. And we saw that. We saw that with businesses all across the state. So we said we have to do two things. First, the state has to get its act together. And that started with having a state government that works, state government that functions, where we had an assembly and a senate and a governor who actually could sit in the same room and not throw things at each other. We had to get past the gridlock. They talk about gridlock in Washington now. We have gridlock in Washington. But Washington did not invent gridlock. New York had gridlock before Washington ever had gridlock. And we had that New York-style gridlock. We had a lot more drama in our gridlock than Washington has. 30 years, 23 of the past 30 years, the state of New York didn't get a budget done on time. And the budget is just the metaphor for the dysfunction of the government. We said 4 years ago, Assemblyman Magnarelli is exactly right, we're going to try doing this a different way. And rather than playing politics in Albany, we're going to find the commonality in Albany. And maybe we're Democrats, maybe we're Republicans, but we're New Yorkers first, and we're going to act that way. And we're going to do the job that people sent us to Albany to do. And we took those budgets, 4 budgets passed on time in a row. Last time you had 4 budgets passed in time was 40 years ago under Nelson Rockefeller, when the government was working. So we got the government to actually function, and then we brought down the cost of doing business in the state. We cut state taxes all across the board. Lowest middle class tax since 1958. Lowest corporate tax since 1968. Lowest manufacturing tax since 1917. Brought the taxes down, and we started to see businesses come back. That was the first prong, was the state doing what it had to do. The second prong was region by region developing the economies. Why? Because there is no one economy in the state of New York. There are regional economies. God bless this state, but this is not a vanilla state. This is not a homogeneous state. This is very different. Western New York is different than Central New York, is different than Long Island, is different than the North Country. And there is no one formula that's going to work from Albany, that's going to work for every region. So if you want the Central New York region to come back, you know how you have to do it? You have to do it in Central New York. And the people in Central New York have to do it. And they have to come to the table, and it has to be politicians and the elected officials in a regional template, with the academic leaders, with the business leaders, all coming up with one plan. That's what we call the Regional Economic Development Councils. And they come up with a vision, and then the state is there to invest in that vision. And that's exactly what we're doing. And the good news is, the way for so many years there was a negative synergy in upstate New York. People were leaving, businesses were leaving, which meant more people were leaving and more businesses were leaving, and there's a negative that starts a downward spiral. The inverse is also true, that success breeds success, and good news breeds good news. And when you get one harbor, one hotel being developed on the inner harbor, then you have a second hotel. And then you have businesses come because now there are 2 hotels. And people see growth and people see activity, and then people start to feel positive about themselves and the community and their environment, and they start to invest. And that's what you're feeling happening here in Syracuse. You can feel it piece by piece. You can feel it when we did Solvay. You can feel it when the county executive rolled out the plans for the new amphitheater. You could feel it when we did the DeWitt project with nanofilm. What an exciting new concept. And one building on the strength of the other, building on the strength of the other. And that starts to develop a momentum all its own. And while the inner harbor sat year after year after year with nothing happening, now you see the exact opposite. You see a positive coming together and a multiplying effect. And you're right, we were just here, seems like yesterday, announcing one hotel, now we're back again announcing another one. Positive development after positive development. Success breeds success. That's the county executive's concept of enthusiasm. And she is exactly right. And you are doing it. You are doing it. I know it's been a long time coming. And I know it should have happened before, but it's here now. And you can feel the growth as we're here, because you are making it happen. I'm pleased to be a partner in it. I'm pleased just to watch it. And I'm pleased just to be a witness to your success. My pleasure to be here. Thank you and congratulations.
We ready? Build the shovel. Lift the shovel. On 3. 1, 2, 3.